And that's what happens when I have to do the buttons by myself. It's Friday. It's January 7th, 2022. And this is Den Excelsior, the Mostly Marvel podcast. I'm Dennis, and I'll be your host as we explore the latest Marvel happenings across all media, as well as the occasional off-brand superpowered story. And when I say we, I'm referring to an assembly of nerd Avengers that I'm going to waste no time introducing. So my regular co-hosts, Frank and Ricky, couldn't make it tonight, but I wasn't going to let that stop me from having fun with one of our favorite guests. So I'm bringing him out right now. Welcome, Travis.
Hey, what's happening?
Just one little hiccup so far. I forgot that I'm supposed to be there when the video ends. So whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's good. Welcome back. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
We were gonna do a show. I think last week was the idea, but we're just like, just it's not gonna be any different this week or next. You know,
you can't rush quality.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta.
And then here we are. Both co-hosts cancel on me, and I'm like, we're doing it anyways. We're going.
They felt intimidated.
They did.
I understand.
They did. And you know what? Honestly, I would feel intimidated if I was here by myself with just you for the next hour and a half. But I'm not. I'm not actually. I do have a special, I don't know if you want to call this a special co-host or just a special guest.
Okay.
It was somebody to help me here because, you know, with Ricky not here, that means I'm doing double duty. I got to do the hosting and I got to do all the flipping of the switches in the background.
Right.
And I wanted somebody to kind of keep you distracted while I'm doing the behind the scenes stuff sometimes.
Oh no!
So welcome back, Joel.
Oh, I just knew it. Oh no!
For some reason, I just sat there and I was just like, as soon as you started saying, "Oh no,"
Joel, you've got your D&D name on your StreamYard right now.
Oh, I do have it. Oh, I'm sorry. I will change that.
No, it's cool. I told you that's why I never put my D&D name on there because I do a show the next day. It's okay.
An inelegant nerd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes, I
Don't
am.
worry about it. Don't worry.
There
about
we
it.
go.
We just reviewed.
Now I feel a little bit more part of the crew.
Well, Joel, we just had you on like only a few weeks ago for Hawkeye. I think like episode 3 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like episode. I want to say it was episode 3 or 4 because I remember it was 3 because I remember we were talking about we were like we hope there's not that much episodes left, so they need to introduce somebody. I remember that one. So I almost guarantee it was 3.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I hit him up in a pinch, and I explained the whole thing. He was waiting in the waiting room with us the whole time. I just told him, he was like, "How are we going to do this?" I'm like, "Travis can't see you. I can see you, so it's fine." So he was there. He was only there for the last few minutes of it. Don't worry though. Not all of it.
I didn't talk smack about it.
Yeah, no, it
wouldn't be any different.
He got
I've been in the room when you're talking smack about me.
That's true. I do keep it real.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna sit there and be like, "Oh no, he talked crap."
You guys can actually thank Ricky for this one. It was an idea he came up with since he knew I was going to be stuck in a jam, and he's like, "You should ask Joel." And I was like, he's like, "That would be a good show." And I was like, "You're right, I should." So
oh my God.
I did it.
Oh
and this
God.
is it. This is the show. This is the show tonight, guys. Yeah. How you feeling about that, Travis? How you feeling
Let's do this.
All right,
boys.
All right. So have fun.
Really quick, let me get some formalities out of the way before we just completely go off the rails. So for the show, as advertised, we're finally going to be talking about the movie that I think damn near everybody's already seen.
Hopefully.
We're putting a spotlight on Spider-Man No Way Home. I wanted to give it some time. I know it's hard for different people to get out to the theaters, and it's why I've kind of tried to be respectful of these last few movies that have come out, because it's a challenging thing for everybody to do. But yeah, it's been like 4 weeks now, 3 weeks, I think, whatever. We're gonna do it. We're gonna spoil the crap out of that movie. But before we do that, we will be chatting a bit more with our marvelous guests here. And then we have about 2 weeks of nerd news to discuss. Don't worry, it won't be super long. And also, I've got a round of trivia that I got whipped up for you guys, aka Contest of Champions. That's probably trademark, but whatever. It's fine. And then for those of you joining us live, and I know I've already seen we got people there, don't be shy. We will be checking the comments regularly. And if you can't get enough of us, you should visit patreon.com/denxmedia, where you'll find a variety of creative offerings. And patrons get exclusive access to chat with us on our live after show, The Soapbox. But if that's not your thing, don't worry. We'll be releasing it to the public next week. So that's how we do it now. But yeah. All right. I think I got all of that stuff out of the way. So it's a new year, and that means I'm going to ask a new question for all of our guests. There's a lot of DC content releasing this year, so we've actually already kind of scheduled out the year, and I think we're going to be flexing that mostly Marvel part of our title more than ever. So, and that's going to be kicking off starting next week with Peacemaker on HBO Max. Mm-hmm. So previously, I'd asked both of you what Marvel means to you, and if you haven't gotten a chance yet, I highly recommend you go check out the supercut video that I put up on YouTube, that to show you guys what I did with all those answers. Now I want to know this time around, what nerd content outside of Marvel gives you life and why? And I'll let Travis go first.
Wow. Outside of Marvel, I'd say what had the most impact for me is Lord of the Rings. It really sums up so much of my life. When I was in grade school and 5th grade, I had gone to this all-white school, and I was the only Black person. Not like staff, no, the only Black person at the school. And the first day I opened my desk and I saw a Redbox D&D set in there. And those things changed my life. And not too long ago, so it was almost 10 years ago, when I was working at a company called Magic Leap, we had to go to New Zealand. And when we went to New Zealand to go to Weta, and the first day they gave you this tour. And my tour that sort of ended in the weaponsmith's office. And I'm looking around, and my eyes just fixate on this sword. And he asked me, he says, "What, do you know what that is?" And I was choked up, like seriously choked up, because these are not like, oh, it's a replica or something. No, this is the original sword that all the replicas get made from. And I said, that's Glamdring, the faux hammer. And it was like, oh my God. And he says, do you want to hold it? And I was like, I couldn't even speak. I was like, yeah. And so here I am, a grown man, right, almost in tears in this dude's office because I felt like I was in the 5th grade. I felt like I had just rediscovered like everything that made me me. And I'm in New Zealand. Like I found those books in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I mean, you can't get much more country, right? And now I'm in New Zealand because I'm an entertainment executive at this point, holding Gandalf's sword. No, you just can't get more rigid. You just can't get more G'd up than that. And so, by far, it's after this Lord of the Rings.
You know, I've never watched the Hobbit trilogy because I don't want to ruin the beauty of the original trilogy with it.
You're probably better off that way.
Yeah. Because in all honesty, The Hobbit was one of my favorite books as a like a teenager or a kid or whatever. And it was years before I found out there was 3 other books that came with them. Like it was nuts. And so yeah, when I held The Hobbit in a very special place in my heart for a long time. And so, you know, after I'd gone and read Lord of the Rings, and those are obviously way cooler books, you know, like and then I watched the movies and I love the movies. They're so great. I just like when I found out they were adapting like a 200-page book into like 3 movies, I was like, no, this is not.
Can I say one thing in defense of those movies, though? Especially since this is the mostly Marvel podcast. Okay. Doctor Strange played one hell of a dragon.
Yes, he did a good job.
Okay. Like, I would have, like, you could cut that movie down to just Smaug. And I'd have been happy.
Yeah.
Right. And so to me,
yeah,
I mean, it was just executed exactly as if, like, you know, and I know we're getting way off here, but you know, okay, yeah. Thanks, Doctor Strange, and the best dragon I've ever seen.
Nice. I'll check them out sometime. I know they're on HBO Max, so I'll give them a look. Not just high on my list lately, but Joel, it's your turn to answer that question.
Ooh, I don't know how I'm gonna follow that up.
Just not Marvel.
Not Marvel. All right.
It gives you life, and why?
I could honestly say Aliens. So Aliens 1, 2, and 3. I would say that. Aliens 1, 2, and 3. Aliens will always be my favorite movie ever. And honestly, it's like back in 1986 when I saw the first commercial on TV and I was like, I want to go see that. My mother was like, no, you're gonna be too scared at home. Don't come home. I don't want you to go watch that movie because you're gonna get too scared. And I was just like, no, I really want to see it. I really want to see it. First time actually watching that movie was in high school in the early 90s. Because my mother would not let me watch that movie anytime other than on TV. And the first time I saw it was like in Florida, it was like Channel 33. And I was just like, holy crap, this movie is great. I do not know what she was scared about, what she was so nervous about me watching. But she was very nervous about me watching it. And honestly, God, I can honestly say the essence of storytelling that they did in that movie was probably some of the best character creations that I've ever seen in my life. And it honestly, I would say there's 2 things in my life that made me move along towards the career path that I'm on right now. First thing was Aliens, and you're gonna laugh at the second thing. Second thing was those damn Coca-Cola polar bears. Because as soon as I saw those Coca-Cola polar bears, I always said, I want to do that for the rest of my life. And
what if a xenomorph actually like infected a Coca-Cola polar bear?
Well, you have to
be your spirit animal.
I I never thought that I would be able to do 3D ever. And now I am able to work in the industry doing 3D. When I saw those polar bears, I was just like, I want to learn how to do that. That is the thing that made me. But seeing aliens, like, I cannot think of a time where that movie didn't just put a smile on my face. And I'm not gonna lie, I give kudos to Travis. Travis did this one probably the coolest thing he's ever done for me ever was when he brought me to Lightstorm for Family Day, and I met Sigourney Weaver, B, I got to stand next to the power loader, and I was just like, I can't express how much I turned into a child standing in the room next to a power loader, standing right next to Titanic, standing right next to like the Na'vi, and I was just sitting there. I was standing next to the
Alien Queen.
Yeah, the Alien Queen was there. I was just like, oh.
You're welcome.
Literally, I'm just reliving that moment right now. I'm just sitting there going like,
you guys probably want to cry over here. You gonna cry? You guys gonna cry right now?
There was a little tear that was building up in the back of my eyes. You gotta understand that was a perfect day. That day for me was like exactly what I needed in life. I feel like that day, if you wrap that day into a pill, it'll get rid of COVID. That's how good that
wow.
That's pretty good. I do love that movie. I love the second one a lot more than the first one. The first one,
yes,
is a great horror movie, and I love that James Cameron was bold enough to take a horror movie and completely recontextualize it as an action movie and make Ripley the badass that she deserved to be, even more than she was in the first movie. It's a great movie. I really do love it. But for me, I have that movie. For me is RoboCop.
Ooh.
RoboCop is I believe the perfect movie. If you like, I could watch it over and over again, and it just completely. Oh man, I rewatched that at early pandemic in like March, April 2020, and that movie just like hit on a whole different level because it was just talking about like the police state and the overreaching long arm of the law and how media was influencing the way law enforcement was being done and all these and corporations as well and all these things. It's a damn perfect movie, and it has some of the best movie villains I've ever seen on screen. Clarence Boddicker, I dare you to find somebody like more evil than that man on screen, especially in 1988. Like, I just couldn't do it. And my parents did not stop me from seeing that movie many times as a child.
No. My mother was really like very strict on any and everything that goes in the
everything.
House.
Everything.
Yeah, my mother was pretty strict in that house. Yeah. But hey, I love her to death. She made me the person I am now. All the annoying shit that Travis doesn't like, that's from her.
I'll buy that for
you guys like.
I'm not even sure what this means, Ricky. We weren't talking about Terminator at all. So you just decided that's just go back and watch your football game. All right, just do that instead. And then
that's what I was laughing at when you were talking. I saw his comment. I was like, Genesis. I was like, ooh.
And then Erica is very right. Drop it, creep. I mean, Peter Weller has some of the best one-liners a superhero can be given in a movie. He's just amazing.
I'm sure you probably saw this, Dennis, but I think it's on Netflix. The movies that made us, and the one on RoboCop.
Yes,
wasn't it perfect? Because they broke down exactly all the stuff you were talking about, and in that, I thought it was brilliant. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I just, it's just so much that it's not a mistake. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because if you get like one or two things oh, okay, haha, oh,
Mhm.
you guess that, right? But when it's bam, that's true. Boom, that's true. Boy, that's even more true now than it was then. And one after another, you're like,
Yeah.
wow,
It's the bar
wow.
that I set all superhero movies against. You know what I mean? And that's why I always get like thrown off when people say, "Oh, well, it's a rated R can never be." No, no. Watch RoboCop. RoboCop
Honestly,
shows you that it doesn't matter what the rating is on that movie. It can be a damn good superhero movie, anyways. You know.
that's the thing. It's like I remember seeing RoboCop. I had to actually sneak out to go watch RoboCop because that one was because if my mother found out, that would have been my ass. But but that was that the thing that caught me off guard is how I don't know if I should say this. It's like it's going to come off weird. It's like they made violence
Oh, why
entertaining.
stop now? Yeah.
Mhm.
They
They
made
made
violence
violence
entertaining.
entertaining.
Yeah, it's
Um,
I,
like it was
to,
good.
to
but that's a
me,
commentary, like on media at the time as well.
Hmm.
to me, like even then, right? Like RoboCop was so ultra violent,
Hmm.
right? That I just couldn't believe it. Like
Hmm.
when Ed 209 took out that dude, like that executive, I was like, holy smokes, man. Like they are not playing around in this movie, right? They're
Hmm.
just not. And I tell you, like the last thing in RoboCop, like that when I think about it, it just makes me sort of emotional. Is Murphy
Hmm.
right at
Hmm.
the end? Like I'm like,
Perfect ending.
oh, that was
Perfect ending.
so. Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah,
I got to give it to you, Dennis.
yeah.
Once
Yeah,
again,
that was good. That was a good one.
once
It's
again.
it's my favorite movie outside of anything with a Spider-Man in it. Um, all right. I think we've spent a lot of time talking about fun stuff that's not Marvel. Let's switch gears here and let's actually talk about some Marvel news. I'm gonna hit this button and here we go. How was that? Was that cool?
Well, I
It
thought you were
was
going to
nice.
keep the party going.
I know.
I am gonna keep the party going.
Pardon
It
me.
was very
All
Street
right.
Fighter.
It was very Street Fighter. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
It was a
Uh,
compliment. It was a compliment.
all right. So first up, we got a. I don't know if you guys play Marvel Avengers, but this was a kind of a leak type thing that's going on. That it's possible that the next DLC is going to be She-Hulk, and the rumor is that Arcane voice actress Krizia Bajos will portray her. I don't know if any part of what I just said matters to you guys, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. Uh,
Look, I have a friend of mine, like a really good friend of mine, a work colleague who works on Avengers. She don't give a damn about Avengers, and neither do I. They're like, this game is the worst. I mean, I
Oh,
can't.
wow.
I
and
can't.
you know what's so funny about it
I
is like
can't.
it's so two things are funny about it. One, it's not actually the worst, but it's the worst for how much it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like for how like it's for if you're gonna take the property of the Avengers, make sure that it's
Mhm.
not the worst is never even being floated around that property. Like that. Never, never. It should never be even said. The second reason it really is the worst though is when I was doing the reflection back on like all the episodes of our show last year to try and like pull together all the what does Marvel mean to you. Man, first episode we were just going in hard on Marvel's Avengers, and I must have done that so many weeks out of like the 47 weeks that we did a show. It was so much. So I felt it was just fitting to go in on it again at the beginning of the new year.
I
But
just,
yeah.
I just wish I cared. I mean, it's like this.
Yeah.
I'm serious, right? Like the
I
thing
feel
about
ya.
it is, it's like us being in entertainment, in in this field in particular, right? Like you're like, oh man, like how can you make a game that has to take into account so many different superheroic attributes and make it
Yeah.
right? And you know it's not possible.
Yeah.
You
And
know
making
it's
it
not
balanced.
possible.
There's
Yeah.
there should
And
never be a reason why Iron Man could take a punch as much as Hulk can or
I
Thor
died more
can.
playing the Hulk than I did
Mm.
any other time. And
Exactly.
I'm like,
I
I should never die playing the Hulk.
I
You
beat
know,
the
Yeah.
like
demo and
seriously.
I was just like, there's no reason the Hulk should be this week. There's no reason. There's
Right?
no reason the Hulk should
The
be.
reason is you
So
haven't leveled him up yet. That's why.
so
I
so
guess, but
No,
so
I
now
agree.
still
I agree.
level
so
one Hulk
hey,
should be like just
hey,
blowing
Yeah.
shit up.
hey.
Mm.
But now we got a Hulk that's a little more sexy. Reinstall the game. No, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. No. So
Hard pass.
honestly, if
Hard pass.
Spider-Man couldn't get me to come back to that game for more than 5 minutes, She-Hulk has no chance.
If
Like,
T'Challa couldn't get me back in that
Yeah,
game,
I actually
that's
played
true.
the T'Challa one for a few days. It was more fun than anything they'd done previously. The
The Black
Spider-Man
Panther
stuff was
one,
just a bummer. Yeah.
the Black Panther one looked cool, and I can honestly say, out of all the upcoming Marvel stuff, She-Hulk is the one that I'm probably the most excited over. But
Oh, by the way, no
I'm not.
release date, so I'm going to guess 2023.
Yeah, probably. I doubt
31st.
I doubt they're gonna push out that many things this year.
Yeah, I can't imagine. But
Hmm.
let's move on to something a little bit more of our liking, our taste. The MCU. I don't know if you guys have heard about that thing. It's a little thing. They put out a couple
What's
movies every
this?
now and then.
What's
It's
this?
called the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh,
What is
okay.
that?
And
Is that
Yeah,
new?
do tell.
apparently it's the thing that accounted for 30% of domestic box office.
They had
30%.
yeah, I believe they
Yeah.
had 4 out of the 5 top grossing movies last year.
That's
Well,
crazy.
so in fairness, this metric is actually not just the MCU. It's also including Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
Okay,
So
and
all 5 of the movies, all 5 of the Marvel-based movies that came out last year, totaled 30% of the domestic box office.
that's
That's
still
nuts.
Marvel. The Venom is
Yeah.
still Marvel. Yeah.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not MCU. Yeah, but yeah.
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 It doesn't say
Um,
MCU. So, yeah.
No, I know.
Okay.
I wanted to clarify that just for anybody who wasn't certain. That Venom contributed to that a lot. By the way,
Yes. Yes.
The obviously Spider-Man the most contribution. I don't
Yes.
even
Yeah,
remember
it's the
what the
only
latest tally is, but I think last I saw 1.6 billion.
yeah, it's the only
Um,
$1 billion
about right.
movie that came out last year, I believe.
It's the highest grossing Sony picture movie
Yeah, but
of all time. Yeah,
of all time.
I think last year was
After
the
11
only
days.
movie that hit a
Yeah,
billion,
I
right?
know, right?
after 11
Yo.
days. That's nuts.
Yo.
That's more impressive than anything.
So
Yeah.
I guess this should silence the naysayers about superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
Or,
Right?
or it's a flash in the pan.
Hey,
See what I
it
did
took
right
down
there?
the pandemic.
I see what you did. But honestly, like I think the real simple answer, I've heard other people say this before, but I think the real answer to this is like, pandemic be damned, we're invested in these characters at this point because of the way the story's been told. It's Spider-Man was the 27th movie in the franchise, unless you count all the extra movies that it rolled into the franchise as well. But people were so invested that they were willing to go and risk COVID more than anything else, more than any other movie. I know filmmakers were so butthurt about, why is nobody coming to see my Oscar bait movie? Because you didn't have 26 movies that came before it that have gotten people to fall in love with your characters and be so invested. Yeah.
Nope.
So
you're 1,000% right.
Yeah.
It's like,
I didn't want to do it.
Once you have a fan base that is actually just following you that much, was 26 movies. 26 movies. You have a fan base that's following you for 26 movies just to see what you're gonna do next. Yeah.
I used to
Makes
go to
sense.
the movies. I used to go to the movies at least once a week. And in 2021, I went to the movies 5 times.
Yeah.
4 were for MCU movies, and 1 was to see the stupid ass Matrix sequel with Travis.
Whoa.
But that was for your birthday. That wasn't because I wanted to see it in theaters. I actually also made a promise to like appreciate the good deed that HBO Max did all year long by giving us the option of seeing every movie at home. I really appreciated that they did that to, just to kind of offset the craziness of the times out there. So
I
I
was
like how
reading
you
this
just
morning.
gracefully. I like how he just gracefully just rushed up and farted all over Matrix.
yeah, I
And
did.
then
I did.
kept
I
it
did.
going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I see
I
you.
I heard that Warner Brothers took a hit because of that.
No,
Uh,
they undoubtedly did, but it's still goodwill that they built, for it.
Oh no, it's
I
very
think
true.
it. Actually, I was reading some news article. I think it was maybe a day or two ago that said like that strategy helped their subscriber numbers substantially.
Subscriber numbers, yes, but they took a hit in the box office for sure because
Yeah.
of it.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they don't care.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's all
Um,
Discovery now anyway, right?
yeah, yeah. All
Wait,
right, I got.
Discovery's there. I thought Discovery. I thought ABC owned Discovery.
We're going on a tangent. I'm stopping you
Okay,
right now, Joel.
going on a tangent. Sorry, my bad.
It's cool. We can just. It's all soapbox fodder. We can do that more in the soapbox.
Mm.
Moving on to more no, not MCU, but Marvel movies. Well, it's MCU related, honestly. Morbius is delayed again for the 7th time, I believe. This movie, Ricky wanted to point out that the craziest thing about Morbius is in the amount of times it's been delayed since it was originally supposed to release, I believe back in 2020. They made an entire other Spider-Man movie and released it while Morbius has still been sitting in the can somewhere.
That doesn't say much for the movie, you know.
No, that just says that says everything about business.
Yeah, well, in fairness though, like I would like to point out, depending on where you find this article, like there's different articles circulating. The original ones were saying that they're doing this due to COVID, but this one that I found actually like is what I read and is more believable. While they're not saying it's not due to COVID, they're also factoring in the fact that Spider-Man is continuing to blow away like all other movies right now in theaters, and they don't
Yep.
want to like cannibalize their own other movie
Makes sense.
with this. So they're just going to ride the Spider-Man train a little longer, and then whenever they drop this at this point now, I think they're going to do better. It's going to do better
Yep.
because of this.
Yep.
So
On the tails of Spider-Man.
so
Absolutely.
April
That's true.
1st, riding on the tails of Spider-Man, it's gonna do way better than it probably ever would have done before that. So
You think it's gonna
You
get
know.
pushed back again?
well, I mean that if it does again, it's because of COVID. Because I doubt Spider-Man's just gonna suddenly get a resurgence of people going to see the movie, but we'll see.
Probably.
It would be funny if it was. The other speculation is that they pushed it to April 1st so they can go and quickly film some new scenes that are relevant to the things that we've seen that we're not going to spoil quite yet. We'll spoil in a little bit, but who knows? It's just a working theory. All right, I'm gonna move it on to other news. I don't know if you guys have heard about this one, but Valkyrie Tessa Thompson might be appearing in the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2. There was a set photo that was actually released. It's kind of hard to see. It's in that little tweet over on the right. But basically, that's in the makeup room of the set, and they noticed that of all the cast on there, there's a Tessa Thompson photo up there, and so they're like, "Please let this be true, please, please, please." So she might be making an appearance. That's pretty cool. I loved her in Ragnarok. I just want more of this character all the time. So give me. I'm fine with it.
I'm Tessa every day of the week, baby.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm all for her. She
Well,
is
I'm
yes.
glad
great.
I'm glad you said that because speaking of it, also Thor: Love and Thunder revealed, or there was leaks for Tessa, Jane Foster, and Thor. I don't want to. I want to give you guys the option. Do you want to have their looks spoiled for you right now?
I already saw it, so it's already spoiled.
No, this is this is the Travis React video.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. 2 of them are production design looks, which I've seen other confirmation that they're pretty good, and the third one's actually just Tessa, taking a picture of herself.
I ain't gotta lie, she looks fantastic right there. She looks Tessa. Fantastic. Yeah,
that's dope.
Look at those arms, man.
All of that. That's fire.
So it's actually funny because the
she is not playing.
I saw these pictures, but there's another picture I saw of Thor where he has a different helmet. Where he has a helmet on.
Yeah, so there's another picture. It's a really goofy picture, so I didn't grab it. But you know how Thor always has the powered down and the armored look? So the armored look has him with a very golden chainmail over his arms, very, very yellow. And then he's got a very yellow helmet, like with wings. And it's like, okay, that's a bold look. But it still fits. It still fits this suit that we're seeing here. It's just, it's a matching helmet with a lot of gold.
Okay, I need to say it one more time. Tessa. Hey, girl.
All right, and then we got one last piece of news. It's a special one. I'm gonna call it a rumor, but it's like a rumor that like the man himself is trying to make. I think he's trying to will it into existence. It looks like if we don't already have one, it's Norman Reedus is very much trying to make this a thing. I saw on Giant Freaking Robot like back in like December 28th, after Reedus had tweeted a picture that somebody had photoshopped of him turning into Ghost Rider. He tweeted that on the 27th, and then on the 28th, Giant Freaking Robot had actually like scooped an exclusive that Marvel had signed Norman Reedus. And then I never saw another article ever that confirmed or verified what they said. But I've seen a lot of articles since that Norman Reedus really, really wants you to believe this is happening. I'm just curious where you guys fall on this one. What do you think?
I like it.
Norman Reedus is like the white trash superhero. Like, seriously,
it's the role though.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's something about him. Like, like you think his name could be Cooter? Like, for real? Right? You know what I'm saying? He looks like a Cooter.
I think bonus points if we get a Ghost Rider that actually knows his way around a bike. You know what I mean?
That's very true. But yeah, he's got that vibe about him, right? Like, all you would have to do is just run some sort of flame shader all over his face, and I'm in. He's got my $20.
That's all he wants. Honestly, he wants you to do that. He wants somebody to just light his face on fire on screen and call it Ghost Rider.
I just want him to stop working on crazy video games where he has a baby. Like, I don't. Come on now, don't do that.
Hey, I'll be happy. I'll be happy with anything that they put out, as long as they give me a good story. Said it once, say it 1,000 times. That's all I care about is a good story.
Agreed. All right, so really quick before we move on to the trivia and then eventually Spider-Man talk, I did want to just shout out that our friend Eric has been there reacting to everything we say in the live chat, and I was just trying to keep the ball rolling a little. Yeah,
he's definitely. It's actually funny. I'm laughing at his picture. Because the picture have him with like 10 bottles of Jameson in his hand.
It's a good.
I wouldn't say I was the one who took that picture, but
nice.
It's actually hilarious.
Thank you, Eric, for keeping it alive in the chat. And it's not that we're ignoring you; it's just that we are trying to find nice times to say hi to you and everything like that. But thank you so much. Oh, need to drink more. Nice. 3 E's in the need. That's how you more. All right, guys. You guys ready to do some trivia before we move on to Spider-Man?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. I love that his text was up there the whole time during that. Oh well. Oh well. It's fine. We're doing this. We're doing it. We call it Contest of Champions because, well, I mean, it's a cool name. It sounds cool, but I don't think that you guys are necessarily champions at Marvel Trivia, but we might be by the end of this. So let's see. I have come up with a new game. I'm going to call it. I like alliterations because it's a very tried and true comic book tradition, but I'm really bad at it. So forgive me. This is what I came up with. It's called Origin Options. What I'm doing here for you guys is I've showed you a character with his name, and that's an actual picture of the character. It's a Marvel character. And I've given you 3 possible choices for his superhero origin. And you guys can work together if you want. You can work with the audience to see. But you just got to give me your answer for what you think is the correct answer for Defensor's superhero origin. Is it A, blessed by a mystical capybara? B, stumbled upon vibranium conquistador armor? Or C, given off-brand super soldier serum?
See, C is so bootleg. I can't.
I kind of feel like it's A. I kind of feel like it's A.
Because B sounds a little racist.
Well, it's more of I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of how did they figure out how to melt vibranium?
Yeah, so conquistadors are
hey,
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So that
he sounds like a transformer, to be honest with you.
It actually is the name of a transformer.
See,
there is a transformer. It's a combiner named Defensor.
I thought.
Yeah, it's the protector bots, isn't it?
Yep, the protector bots. Yeah, they're orange and white. Orange and white. Yeah.
Why not? I think he should be blessed.
All right. Are you guys both agreeing?
Yes, I think. Yeah, A.
All right. Cool. And then Eric, feel free to let us know, even though it's going to be delayed, and we're gonna see your answer afterwards. Here it goes, guys. It's stumbled upon vibranium conquistador armor.
How did they learn how to melt it?
Of course, the racist answer would be right.
I'll give you the history. Gabriel Sepulveda was employed as a construction worker who discovered an underground passageway. Sepulveda snuck into the passageway after his superiors had told him to ignore it. I'm assuming this is in South America or Central America, by the way. Inside the underground cavern, he discovered a suit of armor connected to a strange machine. After donning the armor, he was attacked by a group of creatures. He fought his way to the surface. Sepulveda decided to use the armor as the hero Defensor. Dude literally just stumbled across some armor and put it on.
Now, you got some vibranium conquistador armor.
Yeah.
That's just chilling somewhere.
Exactly.
Worth like the state of Kentucky.
Seriously, if Black Panther, if they were saying Captain America's shield was worth the essence, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. If they're saying Captain America's shield is worth like a small economy of a country, what is that whole armor worth? Because the fact
and why is it there? Why is it just chilling? I'm calling BS.
Yeah, I call BS on that one too.
You can ask Mark Grunwald in 1982 when he wrote Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions #1 is where he first appeared, and that's why I felt obligated to do this.
He was high.
Yes.
That's 1982. Most likely.
He was on that stuff.
You ready to move on?
Yeah.
Do I have on my conquistador armor?
Well, you're not Gabriel Sepulveda, so you didn't necessarily find any.
Hater.
Here we go. Here's the next one. I think this one's a little bit more familiar to you guys, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows Sauron.
Yeah, from the Badlands.
Mm-hmm.
No, not from the Badlands, Joel.
Isn't he from the
Savage Land?
The Savage Land. Thank you. Savage Land.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, from the X-Men comics.
Yes.
Yes. So Sauron, he's like a full-on pterodactyl man or whatever. And if you guys remember, he also has powers of like hypnosis, and he's a freaking energy vampire. He's got a lot of weird things going on, and he looks like a freaking pterodactyl, whatever. 3 choices. A, bitten by a mutated pteranodon. B, genetically modified by Mr. Sinister. Or C, recited an incantation from the Darkhold. How did he become Sauron?
I think it was B, because Mrs. Sinister has something to do with the Savage Lands. I think it's B.
I'm gonna good looking out, Lindsay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with C. Recited the incantation.
So Eric is saying C, and I'm wondering if he's saying C for this one or for the previous question. But we're gonna say that Eric is agreeing with Travis and saying recited an incantation for the Darkhold. And guess what, guys? You're wrong.
Oh, we are
this is dumb.
We're horrible at this game.
He was legit bitten by a mutated pteranodon. Like, he was attacked by a pack of them that had migrated from the Savage Land to, I believe, Argentina. And as much as you would love to believe that one of my other answers that I wrote was true, I think I did a good job of writing believable other ones tonight.
Well, well, and in all honesty, though, right? It doesn't mean that he can't not or would not have recited the incantation from the
True. If given the opportunity, he would have, right?
See what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, because he might have.
Yeah. So technically, going off of that logic, he probably could have been genetically modified by Mr. Sinister, because Mr. Sinister does have something to do with the Savage Lands. And
so just to be clear, I say thank you for validating the other two that I wrote entirely on my own. But also, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. He got bitten by a mutated pteranodon.
I'm just saying.
That's his origin story.
How does Mr. Sinister not have something to do with this? I just don't understand how that is not possible.
The mutated pteranodon bit him, and then he became an energy vampire. And then much time later, he drained the energy from Havoc. And it's only when he drains the energy from a mutant that he actually turns into a full-on pteranodon man. But that's Sauron. That's him. Now you know. The more you know. You ready for another one? You don't like it?
Yep.
All right, let's go. I hope at this point you guys are starting to just recognize the ridiculousness of these. But here we go. This is a more modern character. It's Squirrel Girl, aka Doreen Green. And your options are A, exposure to Terrigen mists, aka Inhuman. B, bitten by a radioactive squirrel. Or C, unknown gene modification in utero.
So, my opinion, it's A, but with the way things have been going so far, I really think it's going to be B. So, because it makes more sense to me that he was bitten by a radioactive squirrel. Actually, let me phrase that. It doesn't make any sense to me that she was bitten by a radioactive squirrel, but the way things have been going, I'm thinking it's going to be B. I'm still going with A, but I think it's going to be B.
Travis, like you just gave 2 answers.
Yes, right. I gave 2 answers, but only one of them is right, and whichever one is right, I will be kind of right.
If it's C, it's going to be awesome. By the way, now I just want to say first and foremost, I hate this character with every fiber of my being. Okay, I have heard so much about Squirrel Girl and never cared a single syllable about what she was or why she was powerful. I heard she defeated some God King superhero villain dude,
She's beat Galactus, Thanos, and Dr. Doom. She's beat them all.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So with that in mind, she has got to have some exposure to Jerry Carroll juice. So I'm gonna go with A. She is Inhuman, her and her S curls.
Okay, this is awesome, guys. You're so good at getting the wrong answer.
Oh
See?
my God.
She is.
See?
I originally wanted to write mutant on here, but it turns out, and I believe because she was created around the time where Marvel was trying to like stop Fox from acquiring more of their characters. So they wrote a little bit in there. She was in fact born with her prehensile tail and the ability to communicate with squirrels, but rather than be classified as a mutant, her doctor ran tests to find out that it was determined that she specifically did not have the X gene, and so she was just born as a result of unknown gene modification.
Mom stepped out with a squirrel.
This is
She has squirrel
literally-
DNA. She has squirrel DNA in her.
Wow.
This is literally like the dumbest character ever. Like I'm gonna go back to a racist dude, you know, and I'm gonna roll with him. I'm gonna roll with the conquistador, you know, Squirrel Girl can get the hell out of here. Like what does she do? Go around and get nuts? I mean, what is it?
She commands an army of squirrels, man.
So she does get nuts from squirrels.
She does. She does. Yeah,
This is
her favorite
ridiculous.
one is named Tippy Toe.
Oh,
I'll move it on.
Was Tippy Toe bitten by a radioactive squirrel?
No, she's like Aquaman, but with squirrels.
Tippy Toe was her father. That's how it works.
I can't.
Well, just so you know, Eric is getting you all Squirrel Girl merch for your birthday.
His life is forfeit. Your life
All
is
right.
forfeit.
Moving on. I'm loving this. You guys are 0 for 3 so far. So we're going to keep it going.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Here it is.
Silk.
Silk. I believe Sony's actually developing a show based on this character.
Yeah.
So you have 3 options here. A, received blood transfusion from Peter Parker. B, bitten by a radioactive spider. C, emissary for a secret race of human spider hybrids.
I want to
Do you
say
like
it's
these?
A.
I'm pretty good at writing these though, right? You
I
kind of
really
believe
wanna say-
all you kind of believe all of them every time.
I want to
Okay.
say A.
All right. Here's the thing, though. I'm gonna go with A. Okay.
I love the way
But
you
it
said
doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that B and C can't be also true.
So any one of them could be right.
Like they all could be true all at the same time. It's crazy.
that. So you
I-
guys are going with you're going with A.
No, I just picked all of them, son. Just like
Nice.
Joel did. Joel had
Comments.
I'm gonna
Please
get this one right.
Please feel free. Oh,
Get this
Selena is in the audience and she's saying C on this one.
Let's go ahead.
So
Selena.
thank you for choosing a different
I'm
word than
leaning
the others.
towards C, but I say it's A.
Word.
I lean towards C, but I say it's A.
All right, guys, here you go. She was bitten
Jesus
by.
H. Christ!
Not only was she bitten by a radioactive spider, she was actually bitten by the radioactive spider that bit Peter.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
It bit him, fell off his hand, and then it bit her ankle.
What? At the same time?
Well, in the same day,
On the same day? Okay.
Did it go around and bite anybody else? Did like it go and bite like a cat, for example? And
If the writers decide the Spider-Verse is fiscally worth doing it, then yeah, it will go around and bite more people.
But okay, so here's the thing though: if she is O positive, she could get a blood transfusion from Peter Parker.
Yeah. Technically,
And you know what? And if she is an emissary, it's secret, so you wouldn't even know about it.
Technically, when the spider bites Peter Parker, some of the blood is on the spider's fangs.
Ooh,
And then it
so
bit
she
her.
did get a blood transfusion.
for Peter Parker.
Oh.
Hey.
Well,
Once again, I am right. All 3 of these are correct.
In
Next question.
In fairness, if you want to make things even more awkward, it's super awkward that like the same spider bit both of them, and yet her powers are like Tobey Maguire's. So she actually has the organic webs come out of her wrists. She's nasty. She's gross.
Yeah, nice.
She's gross. They also have they also have this really gross like bond, where like they have like a pheromone thing that happens that whenever in the same room together, they just have to hook up.
Who,
It's
Her,
pretty
her
Peter or
and the
her
spider?
spider?
and Peter.
Oh,
Oh,
I was like,
not
her and the
not the
spider. That's
her.
kind of freaky.
Yeah, the spiders
No,
is
no.
he's
We'll
like
just we'll pretend the spider's dead for now, but that's always up
For
to
now,
interpretation later.
until it
Yeah.
fell off of her ankle.
I know, could
and
be like
landed
the
in somebody
COVID
else's
bet,
butt.
like everybody
Yeah.
got a piece of that sandwich.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
you guys are 0 for 4 right now. You got one last shot. One last
Oh,
shot.
I can't wait.
One
I
more.
can't wait to get
I
this
think
wrong.
you got this. I think
I
you got
can't
this.
wait to get this wrong.
See,
Here,
By
guys.
I don't even
Here
read
it goes,
it.
guys.
See.
Here it goes,
Just
guys.
go with C.
Just go and see. He says we
Rocket
got the Rocket Racer, and your options here are A. He was bestowed the power cosmic by Galactus. B. Accidentally ingested experimental rocket fuel.
Okay.
Or C. Designed a rocket-powered magnetic skateboard.
Once again,
Honestly,
all could be true.
what I'm guessing, I'm gonna say with C, but I believe B is
Yeah, Eric, that's right.
D. I'll go with Eric. D. I'm saying B. I'm going B. I'm going B.
I'm A.
Selena's going B also.
The power cosmic by the G-Man himself.
I love this, guys. I love you guys. C. Designed a rocket-powered magnetic skateboard. Oh, it's so good.
I know he wasn't a Herald of Galactus. That's why I wanted to keep this party going.
I should have stick with my original plan. C.
Lindsay loves the game, the energy this game is generating. Well, there it was, guys. Contest of Champions. You are not champions today.
What?
But did you enjoy that? Was that fun for you?
First of all, my record is spotless. Look at it. Ain't nothing next to it.
It's
clean
a
as
giant
hell.
zero.
It's clean as hell.
So I will give you my thought process going into how I created that one, but I think it ties directly to the thing that we've been waiting all night to talk about. So I'm gonna click the button and we're gonna go straight into it. Let's do this. All right. So that was a lot of fun. We're talking Spider-Man No Way Home now. It's a little late, but I just want to make it very clear. We're putting a spotlight on this movie. It's been out for a few weeks, but we understand that it's possible you still haven't seen it. So, giant spoiler warning here. There is a lot to spoil in this movie, and I know that itself can be considered a spoiler. But please, if you haven't seen the movie, just turn away, go somewhere else, and then come back when you have. You'll thank us later. I believe you would thank us. So, with that said, I'm just gonna give a quick recap, really quick, and then explain to you where I was coming from with this with that game. So yeah, taking place directly after the events of Spider-Man: Far From Home, which approximately would be in the year 2024, by the way. With Spider-Man's identity now revealed, Peter asks Doctor Strange for help. When a spell goes wrong, dangerous foes from other worlds start to appear, forcing Peter to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man. That was the recap that I found off IMDb, and I actually really liked it, especially for that last part, what it said, when it truly means to be Spider-Man.
It said IMDb said this takes place in 2024.
Yeah, because remember it's fast forwarded after the events of like Endgame. Endgame is in the future, right? Mm-hmm. Endgame's in our future, and so this place, Far From Home, takes place in 2024, and then this still does.
Oh yeah, because it's 5 years later, and Endgame came out in 2019. Yeah, so
something like that.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So as I mentioned, and we could talk endlessly about all the spoilers and everything like this, but I think just from the trailers, it was pretty obvious that there's a lot of Spider-Man villains from different movie franchises in this movie. one of my favorite moments that happened in this movie was Electro and Sandman having this hilarious conversation about where they got their powers. And they both talk about how, like, like what Sandman fell into some like particle accelerator, and then Sandman did, and then Electro fell into like this weird vat of like specially genetically modified eels. And the two of them look at each other and say, I guess like the moral of the story is better watch out where you fall, like, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like all their origins are like bad infomercials.
Yeah, exactly. And it was funny. It really amused me because it's so true that like even if the character themselves is amazing, like over the course of 40, 50, 60 years in the comics, man, it is hilarious to go back and look at where they came from. And that is what inspired me to go and do that stupid contest of champions, just to show you how these characters have sometimes really racist origins, or just really stupid ones, or just never the epic ones you want them to be.
Yeah.
But
Very
that's
true.
where I came up with that. But that said, I've talked long enough. Why don't you guys talk about this movie and tell me what your thoughts on it were? I know it's been a few weeks since you've seen it, but I feel like it's been in the media so much that it's pretty hard to get away from it. So
Yep.
go for it.
You wanna
Travis
go
can go
first?
first if you want.
I remember seeing sort of or feeling the hype for this movie. And I was one of those people who didn't like camp out for the tickets. I got them the next day. I knew this movie was important, but I just didn't go nuts. Um, and then the trailers that I saw were good, but I'm like, oh, it's a Spider-Man movie. I'll go see it or whatever. I mean, I don't even need to see the trailer. I'm going. Um, and then I saw the movie. Just damn. Um, it's I because I'm in entertainment, because I work a lot with intellectual properties and things of that nature. You you think of all the time that people vest into into a franchise, into an intellectual property, and people talk about fan service as if it's a bad thing. Um, and this movie, to me, was a love letter from Sony to all of their spider people, and said, "Hey, dog, thanks for rolling with us the entire time. Here is your big ass cake." Right. And I was, so, and we can go into specifics later, but, to me, it was nostalgic because I was like, I was there opening weekend for that first big Spider-Man movie, rocking Spider-Man throughout every incarnation. And Sony just said the whole time, "Hey, dog, we got you. This is what you wanted to see. Here it is." And I'm like, thanks. And doing it well. Like, it wasn't like things seemed ham-handed, or ham-fisted. It was done well. And I've got nothing but love for that kind of respect for your your fan base.
Yeah. Joel, what do you think?
Okay. For me, I was kind of on the same page as Travis. I felt like I would have been a lot more hyped for it when the trailers came out and whatnot, if it wasn't ruined that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield was going to be in it. Now, I heard about them being in it like right after the first trailer, and I was just like, "Word, okay." And then I started seeing the leaks and whatnot, and then everybody basically was like, "Oh, it's not true," and blah blah blah, and all this other jazz. And when I saw it, the whole time watching it, I was just like, Travis, like what Travis says, basically a love story from Sony to a love letter from Sony to the fans, saying, we want you to understand that all these movies that you guys saw are all part of the same thing. And I was like, oh, this is great. I felt like it would have probably hit me like Endgame if I didn't know that it was like that they were in there. I would have been a little bit more like, yeah. But when I saw it, I was just like, oh, okay, that's how they did. Okay. So I kind of feel like it's really hard to stay away from spoilers, even when you're not trying to look for spoilers. It's like, because I remember I didn't see Spider-Man till the Saturday after it came out. And everywhere you look, any article you read, any TV show, like anything you look at YouTube, something is going to end up on the screen. Like that whole scene about Aunt May, what the whole situation between her and Green Goblin.
You can say it. It's okay.
Oh, well, that's true. We're spoiling everything. Yeah, the whole essence of Aunt May dying, I was just sitting there going like, I did not want to see that. And it was ruined to me because I was reading an article that had nothing to do with Spider-Man, but then it popped up on the sidebar.
Yo.
It popped up on the side column going like, the moment Aunt May dies. And I was like, what? And that was in the title. I was just like, there was nothing I could do to get away from spoilers.
You know, can I say this? I highly suspected that all the Spider-Man would show up. I thought like, hey, that'd be cool. But I wasn't following it so closely. And this was intentional. I didn't follow it so closely that I would know, if this were true or not. And so for me, I because I went to see it opening night, I was like, I mean, I might show up. They might. I mean, it makes sense that they would. Especially because Into the Spider-Verse did so well. Why not plus up the movie? So, and I didn't know anything about Ame passing at all as well, right? Like, and I'm going to bring it back to Matrix here for a second, because it's the Matrix, the first Matrix, the one you like.
As how things are done well versus not.
It
Okay,
says
gotcha.
no, same directors. There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path, right? And so there's one thing to just say, the other Spider-Man are in it, but it's another thing to actually see how that happens, how the interactions and all this other kinds of stuff. So even just to say that the other Spider-Man are in it, that's great. But how did it happen, right? And as long as you don't spoil that, I'm good.
Yeah,
Dennis, please, I need to hear it.
I can agree a lot more with Travis than so. I was definitely in the same ballpark. That I was not excited for this movie going in, and it's because of the trailers. The trailers made me really upset because one, they were making Doctor Strange look like an idiot. Two, they were just the context for them, and I understand that Marvel is notorious for doing misdirects, right? I get that, and so I think going into this movie, all I wanted was for the misdirect to be over with quickly, so that we could have the real experience, right? So I could actually go on the journey with them. That said, I do understand how Joel was feeling, because I'm related to Ricky, and I do the show with Ricky all year long. Ricky couldn't help but spoil that movie all the time. So I knew that it was a done deal that they were in the movie. I knew that Charlie Cox was a done deal, that he was in the movie as well. I knew all these things that I wish they were just rumors. You know what I mean? But I knew them because of Ricky. Now, that said, I just started tuning Ricky out completely, because the closer and closer we got to the movie, the more I realized, you know what? And it was kind of a pep talk from my wife. And she basically said, I think the problem is you're expecting Shakespeare, and you should be expecting Thanksgiving Day Parade. And go for the spectacle, and be pleasantly surprised if there's more than that, right? And once I started,
that's true about every movie.
Yeah, I know.
Very true.
But and my neighbor was saying similar things too. Like, because I was like, dude, if they do a Sinister Six that's not his Sinister Six, I'm gonna be so mad. And he's like, I don't think they're doing Sinister Six. I think they're just doing a fun multiverse movie, and like Spider-Verse, but live action. And I was like, I hope you're right. And so the more and more, we got close to this movie happening, the more I thought about it, and I was like, all right, you know what? They've done nothing to really hurt me. Have I gotten the pain that I need from Spider-Man? No, I've never gotten the pain. And for me, the pain is what makes him my favorite superhero of all time, right? Like, is that every time things are finally going good for Peter, he will get his shit dragged through the mud. It is inevitable every time. And that is why I actually really liked Far From Home a lot more than most people did. I know that movie had a lot of criticism because it was still contextualizing Peter as Iron Man Jr., and he's still fighting Iron Man's villains and all these things. But like, what I really liked about that movie is the way it ends with that stinger with Jay Jonah just completely screwing this kid's life, And I said, this is how you end a Spider-Man story, by screwing this kid's life up. And so I was very skeptical and jaded that going into this movie that they would really commit to that. Like, I knew that he would make his life look shitty for like the first 20, 30 minutes of the movie. But then as soon as Doctor Strange gets pulled in, it's going to be wacky, magical hijinks. And then we're going to have fun, member burying all these actors that are from all the different movies. And it's going to be a silly, wild ride and all these things. And probably the other two Spideys are going to show up, and it's going to make everybody laugh and be happy and things. And Mary Jane's probably going to get caught by Andrew, and I'm going to be like, roll my eyes, because that's not the same thing. And honestly, like, for all these things that I either predicted or didn't predict, it didn't matter, because when I was sitting there in the theater, I was feeling it. I was feeling the ride, and I experienced the whole thing. And I freaking almost cried when Andrew saved Mary Jane, even though I told myself I would be upset if he did, because he didn't earn it. In the moment, he delivered. He delivered everything for me. Like, he delivered everything.
Honestly, for me, Andrew
I got choked up. I got choked up then when it happened. I was like, he got him, man.
Andrew Garfield, I felt like he did the best job of entertaining me.
In fairness, I've always felt that Andrew Garfield did the best job. It's the problem is Andrew Garfield's in the worst Spider-Man movies. Yeah. Like I had this, like, I had the pleasure of like revisiting all 5 live action movies last year, like with Ricky and Frank. We did it throughout the year, like we did Spider-Man 3 for fun in the middle of the summer. And then as we got closer to this movie, we had a few weeks before Hawkeye, and we're like, let's just do it. Let's just do all 4 of these movies. And I had not watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 since the one day I saw it for free in the movie theater, because my company paid for me to go see it. And I saw it in theaters, and I came home and I just yelled for like an hour to my wife, who didn't get to see it, because I was so furious with that movie. I was so angry at it that I'd never, ever watched it again. But I did say this. I think the reason I was so upset about that movie is because there's a part in that movie that made me feel harder than any other Spider-Man movie had. And it's that moment where Spider-Man sees a little kid being bullied in an alley by a bunch of bigger kids, and they break his science fair project. And Peter comes down here as dressed as Spider-Man, scares these kids away, and then he starts talking to this kid and relating to him and introducing himself. I'm Spider-Man, like he's like, this is, oh, you built this. This is really cool. And he's like, tries to help him web it up. And he just wants to walk this kid to school. And I freaking cried in that movie because of that moment, because that's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And then everything that happened after that was just such garbage that I just couldn't stand watching that movie. And it killed me because I never, ever hated Andrew for that movie. I hated everybody else, with the exception of maybe Sally Fields. She's pretty great in those movies too. And so
that was me for Spider-Man 3. I don't like writing reviews on movies because I always look at a movie's experience is objective. So it's, for instance, whenever I go on Rotten Tomatoes, I never look up good reviews. I only look up bad reviews because I want to see what, if I could read the bad review and the review says, oh, I didn't like this movie because the hair was blue. And I could be like, oh, okay, I could get past that. Let's see what good comes out of it. If I could read like a bunch of them and then I only see like minuscule things for bad reviews, I'll read it. I don't write reviews. After Spider-Man 3, I came home and I wrote a novel on why Spider-Man 3 sucked. That is the first and only review I wrote on IMDb. And I wrote for like about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on how much I hated that movie. And I got to a point where I got to the end of the 10 paragraphs I wrote, and I was just like, I don't want to ruin this for anybody else. If somebody else is going to go in there and love this movie, I don't want to be the one to ruin it for them. So I deleted the whole hour and a half of review that I wrote. I just deleted
two things.
But
one,
I hated that movie.
One, I love that movie. I love Spider-Man 3.
Oh,
and I think it's my love for Spider-Man 3 that when I finally went back and rewatched Amazing Spider-Man 2 a few months ago, like in October, I suddenly had a lot more love for that movie because I embraced the camp. You know what I mean? I was able to embrace the camp. I think part of the reason like going into Amazing Spider-Man 2 was so annoying is because it's like, oh, this is the one where they're going to break Gwen Stacy's back. Like, this is obviously the one. In the trailer, she's even wearing the freaking outfit that she wears when she gets her back broken. You know what I mean? Like, so I just felt like it's so annoying as a comic fan to, like, know exactly how this movie ends, right? And so when I watched it happen exactly how I thought it would in the movie, I was groaning. I was the guy groaning in the theater because it's like, really? You're not going to do anything different here at all? And so I get it, though, because, like, all these years later watching it now, like I don't have that burden. I don't have that burden of anticipation. I don't have like the, months of watching trailers and months of speculating. I just got to watch it for the movie it is. And it's a really sweet moment, for
when the back gets broken.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, sweet. I mean, sweet as in like, it's tender and like, the way he reacts, like it's very real and genuine. Like, and it's tragic. It's very sad. And I didn't let him have that last time, when I watched it the first time. And so watching it again, I was like, dude, he's really good. He's like really good he's like the best Spider-Man. Like, I love Tom Holland. Tom Holland is fun. He is pure fun, but he's not everything I need in a Spider-Man, or at least he wasn't, right?
But
he wasn't.
But he's not like Garfield Spider-Man is the seasoned Spider-Man.
Really?
like,
I would think it'd be the other way around.
Like,
he's not seasoned.
He's more seasoned, at least in my mind, than any Toby. Like,
I thought Toby was the
Spider-Man.
more seasoned.
Like,
nah, Toby's like almost out of college by the third movie, man.
I'm not talking about like how he looks. That's not what I mean. I mean, like,
oh no, but
I don't know. There's I guess there's a swag about like, Garfield that none of the other Spider-Men have. And it's like this air of confidence that I get from him that I did not that I didn't get from the other ones, because he was quick with the one-liners. I mean, his timing was just so perfect, and it was just something about him that, to me at least, was more like I'm an experienced Spider-Man than all of the other ones in my
No, you know what he was? Is he was actually the guy who becomes a different person when he puts the mask on, which was not what Toby and Tom have really been, right?
Mhm.
The wisecracker, the
That's what I mean.
real, the snark. Like, so I don't know if that's seasoned. I just think it's the actual. Oh, if you mean seasoned by older, or if you mean seasoned by like properly seasoned meal, like a properly seasoned meal, then yes, I get that. I get it.
All right.
Like, you gotta be. I understand what you're saying, but just to be clear, I have a cool question here from Lindsay in the audience, and I really think this is an awesome question. Oops, wrong one. She posted another thing. What's the difference between I love this because it's like the comics versus ugh, this is exactly like the comics, they're not doing anything different?
That's a good question.
Touche. And that's why I am very happy that I came around all these years later, because I realized that, like, I was mad for my own internal reasons, right? I wasn't mad because of something that the movie actually did to me. I was just mad because, like, I wanted something else than what I got. And and that's why I went into this one with No Way Home squashing as much of that as I possibly could. And so it helped.
I'm still trying to learn how to do that. I haven't gotten there yet.
I think there is it's awful hard to get in the pocket sometimes if you're not like if you're not a fan, right? Like, and there are some cinematic pockets that I think that have been achieved in comic book movies, at least in my mind. Like the one that I saw that I thought was just so perfectly done. And there's plenty of these scenes, that was the beginning of the first of X-Men 2, when you see Nightcrawler teleport and fight.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you saw that, I remember after that scene, there was and I don't even know how to properly explain this, there was an audible hush in the theater that people were like, I don't believe we just saw what we saw, right? And so it's like, so Lindsay, like for me, I think it's very difficult, but when you get it,
yes,
it is unlike any, like, and the only thing that I think, to me, probably the ultimate expression of that, bar none, to me, is when Captain grabs Mjolnir and everybody goes, "Oh, that's exactly what it felt like in my toy dream."
You know what? You know which one does it for me that most people don't really geek out on, which is really in the pocket for me, was Far From Home, when Mysterio just totally mind fucks Spider-Man for like a solid 5 minutes of just one illusion after another.
That was good. That was good.
Oh my God, so much of my comic history just flashed before my eyes in this beautifully executed like montage.
You're right.
It was
You're right.
I love it so much. It's like one of the most comic accurate things I've ever seen. And I wanted it to never end.
Did it not play with you as a viewer, right? Like watching that, like it was like, not only is he doing that to Peter, but he is doing it to
you. Yeah.
And I was just like, holy cow. So yeah. Very, very good point.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit more about this movie, because I know we want to talk about the other ones, because I think they feed into this. Like I think we all came into this with a baggage of 5 other movies, plus two other Tom movies, plus 3 other Avengers type movies with Tom in them. You know what I mean? So like there's more homework that you had to do for this Spider-Man movie than any other Spider-Man movie you had to do. But I think the more homework you did, though, like it actually was rewarding, right? Like, I don't know.
Yes.
What did you guys watch before going into this? Did you do anything before, or did you just go in cold?
I watched No Way Home and Far From Home. It was Homecoming and then No Way Home. I watched both of those before before I came in and I saw this, and I honestly, the one thing that really sticks out in my head is that he does the sarcastic jokes less and less in each movie. He started out when he first started out being Spider-Man, he was sarcastic as shit. But
he was
by
witty. I don't know if he was sarcastic.
Okay, the witty aspect of him, he with those one-liners and whatnot, he was doing it a lot more in the first movie compared to the third movie. And in the second movie, I felt like he was a little bit more of like the depressed kid trying to figure out his own lane in a lane that was on a road that was pathed by Iron Man. Mm-hmm. So he was not as like witty or sarcastic when he's doing any kind of fighting. And then this one, I felt like he was just confused. He was just shocked and confused through the whole movie. So there was no essence of wittiness coming up in this movie.
I think he's supposed to be confused and shocked through this whole movie, right?
Yeah.
But I think Oh, sorry. Go for it, Travis.
I didn't pregame, so to speak, at all before going into this. And I think that sometimes watching movies like this, I don't want to get bogged down in continuity and all that other kinds of stuff just yet. I like to go into these movies just emotion and that's it. I have forever to go back and see whether or not they crossed their T's and dotted their I's. But right now, I know who Spider-Man is. I know who MJ is. I know who Aunt May is. I know all these things. And so I just want to be on that ride for now because I have enough. But see, the thing is like, once again, being in entertainment, being in an industry where like, how the sausage is made, right? Mm-hmm. Anytime where that's going to mess with how I'm trying to experience this, I don't want it. I don't want it because it's going to take me out of it. And I just want to be in that moment. Funny
because when I first saw this,
the
picture you have on screen right now, the first time I saw this still was before the movie. And I literally thought that was a hot toy. I did not think that was the actual real thing. I thought that was a hot toy. I was just like, oh, they did some cool effects on that just for a hot toy.
Yeah. Now I feel you. I feel you not wanting to be burdened by it, but like I think for me it helped to forgive all the other ones for the things that I once had grievances for. Because what I realize is like, it's kind of like Batman, right? Like you never have one movie that gives you the complete Batman. Like there's just, it just doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like, but are they all good in their own way? Mostly. Yeah. They're pretty damn fun. Yeah. We'll just say mostly. But but I think when I went back and looked at all these different movies, like it made me okay with the Tom we were getting. We're like, okay, we're getting a Spider-Man at a different point in his life. Like we're getting the Spider-Man that we always wanted to see do team ups. He never got to do team ups before, and unless you count Sandman and James Franco, you know what I mean, which is like the dumbest team up ever. This was the one that was giving us all of that we always loved. This is why he's the flagship character of Marvel, is because he appears in everybody's stories all the time. And so I just forgave him. I forgave Andrew and I forgave Toby for everything and said, you know what? You all brought something good to the table. And it was so helpful for me to be in that mindset when I went and saw this movie, because like when they finally do show up, oh man, I was already crying. Because I started crying the moment Aunt May died, because to me, that was the pain. It was the pain I needed so badly. I needed him just suffer. I needed him to suffer.
That wasn't it for me.
That wasn't it for you? Okay, well, I cried, and then I just kept crying.
I felt bad. I felt bad, but I didn't. That wasn't it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just kept crying because the reason I cried then is because not only was it Aunt May dying, but it was because Norman Osborn did it. And Norman Osborn was so awesome at being evil through that whole damn movie that like it just made sense. And what made it even worse is that uh it was even more tragic than uh Peter's original story of like just being a jerk and letting that robber get away and kill Uncle Ben. No, this was Peter being punished for doing the right thing. Do you know what I mean? And like this was a more poignant version of the story, which is with great power there must come great responsibility. Like and I also like that she delivered the most comic accurate version of that line ever. I know that the Sam Raimi one has become the one that everybody says all the time, but Aunt May said the line exactly the way
like the comic
it's written.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just really felt that. Like, I felt like, dude, he got convinced that he should do this because it's the right thing to do. And then what happens to Spider-Man for doing the right thing? He gets shit on. And I think that is the most Spider-Man thing that could ever happen to Spider-Man. So from that moment on, I was just all on board for the movie for whatever they wanted to do. And it just made me so happy and sad at the same time. The whole time. Like I cried for like a solid, and by cry, I mean I just had like this one leak that was coming continuously out of my left eye. I should probably get that checked out. But like for like 30 minutes. For 30 straight minutes, my left eye just streamed. It just kept coming out. And I just let it. Sometimes it was happy, sometimes it was sad,
Let me ask you guys a question. We've seen how many villains have we seen in the three, technically what, 7, 8 Spider-Man movies? Like what villain that we have not seen that you guys want to see?
9 Spider-Man movies.
Is it 9?
I count Into the Spider-Verse as the best Spider-Man movie.
Yes. In my mind, I'd say it ties Spider-Man 2 to Tobey Spider-Man 2.
Not even I haven't seen the villain that I want to see yet.
What? Really? Who do you want to see?
Kraven.
Yes.
I do think Kraven is somebody we need to see.
Like to me, like every time in comics when you see Kraven, like it's scary. Like
yes, he's like the Batman of villains.
Yeah, and so like he's like that dude who like shows up like Jason. You know what I'm saying? Like you run down this way and Kraven's like, "What's up?" How'd you get here? Like you know what I'm saying?
They definitely gave you a silhouette of him in the among all the people in the clouds. You got a very clear silhouette. I don't have a picture of that today, but yeah, there's him, there's Black Cat, Scorpion, Rhino. There's a lot of them in there. Yeah. But Kraven definitely stood out as one. And I know that Sony's developing a Kraven movie right now with Aaron Taylor Johnson, I believe.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, I hope that's good, man.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope they do them correctly, because honestly, this whole time I was thinking to myself, like when I watched the last movie, not the third one that just came out, the second one. When I saw this ending in the second one, my creative brain just started going, and I was just like, oh, this is a freaking layup for them to do a Kraven movie. Like now they know Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Kraven sitting in his mansion drinking some whiskey, and he sees that shit on TV, and he's just like, my next hunt. And it was there.
It's better the other way. It's better the other way. And we're gonna get it, so don't worry. It's better if he doesn't know who he is. I don't. It's too easy. Like, there's no hunt in it if you know his address. Like, that's not a hunt. You know what I mean? Like that's not a hunt.
So well, it's a different. It's like what's the name? Iron Man and Iron Man 3 giving out his address. They still had to come for him. So
yeah, but he didn't give it out. He didn't give it out voluntarily. No, he didn't. No, J. Jonah Jameson did. Yeah. No, I'm talking about Tom.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, back to what you were saying, Travis.
you were talking about like I guess times during the movie where you felt like emotional or whatever.
Yeah.
There was sort of a almost this Usual Suspects vibe at the end of this movie for me. And I say that because at the end of the day now, you got Peter. Nobody really knows who he is. He's in his old getup. Okay. And it's back to being really, really broke. Right. And he doesn't even have his woman. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or his best friend.
Or his
And
Stark
I'm like,
suits. Or his Stark suits.
Yeah, like I'm saying, he's broke. He's and so I'm like,
you know why he doesn't have his Stark suits? Because they don't know who he is.
So see, but that's the point. That's the point. What I'm saying is this
Well,
crazy sort of Usual Suspects thing, because you're thinking to yourself, did any of that stuff happen? Did any of that stuff really happen? Is he really friends with Captain America? Did he do any of this stuff? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, Doctor Strange just decided to play Rubik's Cube with reality. Like, what is really true and what is not,
Yeah,
and
it's true.
And it's just him being, once again, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man at the end of the day. And I'm like, damn, that was a cool trip, but did it really happen, or was it? Yeah.
Well, I think to him it happened. You know what I mean?
Sure.
To him, he still has all those memories. Whether or not he does, and the audience does, whether or not the characters in the story do, is a totally other question. Like
that's the weird Usual Suspect.
Yeah, but like I think the cool thing about like the way the reality's set up is you might think that he's completely nerfed right now, but like honestly, he has one cool advantage. He knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Even if they don't know who he is, and that's really cool.
With the fact that he signed,
so that's saying that's what I cried.
He signed another 3-picture deal. I think that's what it was.
No, he has not.
He
has not yet. He has.
I thought it was one picture and a couple cameos. I thought that's what it was.
No, he has contractually one MCU movie to be in, I mean, not a Sony movie, like an Avengers or whatever. Like for right now,
I find all of that highly irrelevant, because he will get whatever he wants.
Thank you. That's what Ricky's been. I've been saying forever. Like the thing that made me most happy going into this movie was when Amy Pascal said before the movie came out, "Oh, don't worry, we're already doing 3 more." And when she said that, I suddenly, all the baggage I had was gone. Because like what I was going into this movie is, man, this is contractually his last Spider-Man movie. And I don't think they're going to give him everything that I need in his last Spider-Man movie. But once it became just number 3 out of maybe 6 or 9 or 20 or whatever, then I was like,
that is going to be that much.
Do whatever you want. I don't care. Just make it fun, like, and
I doubt they will do that much with him. They might do 9 Spider-Man movies, but I doubt it will be 9 movies with Tom Holland. Tom Holland's already came out and said he doesn't want to do it past 30.
Right.
You say that.
Right. Yeah,
you
right.
That.
Yeah. Like Hugh Jackman said something like that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Look at him.
Yeah, exactly, dude. In the 18 years Wolverine, man. There's 19 years.
You better keep doing it.
All I'm saying is like the best thing about the way this movie ends with the blank slate is it not only gave Spider-Man fans the promise of a more accurate Tom Holland Spider-Man, but it actually renewed interest in the other 2 as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Sony, the only thing Sony has to do in order to keep the property is, I think, every 3 years make a Spider-Man related movie.
Yes.
They don't have to do Tom Holland every 3 years or every 1 year. They could have them rotate, and we would all be good with it at this point, because
it'll be like Call of Duty.
Who doesn't want an Andrew Garfield movie now after that movie?
After that one, that's very true. I heard that he was like Sony was talking to him about doing another Spider-Man.
They're not gonna. Come on.
Well, so my question is like, like if we want to do any predictions, because I think we are talking about predictions now. Like, do you think that Morbius takes place in the MCU, or do you think it takes place in Andrew's universe?
Ooh,
because
that's
the
actually a good idea.
the Spider-Man on the wall has the graffiti that says murderer on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew talked to these Peters about how he got dark. He went to a dark place after Gwen died, and he stopped pulling his punches. You know what I mean? And I thought that was a really cool nod to you, because that's very comic accurate in that, like, Spider-Man is always pulling his punches when he fights people, because he could knock your face off if he wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, and so the idea that a Spider-Man stopped doing that, that's a murder Spider-Man is what that is. So I'm wondering, is Morbius? I mean, we know that Venom's not in the MCU now for sure.
Yeah, because they took him in and took him right back out, right?
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
that what happened?
Yeah, and we know that Morbius is in the Venom universe. But the question is Andrew in that universe also?
I wasn't prepared for this question.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
Do you like this question? Does it feel good?
Like this question.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Honestly, it's good. I don't know if as a matter of fact, your question is too good, sir. It is too good. I don't think that they have thought that.
The only thing that confuses my question is that Michael Keaton is in that trailer.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing, though. Now that we know that there are alternates everywhere.
Variants.
Well, when did that happen?
Variants because of Loki.
Yeah. When did that happen?
But now that we know that they're variants, Michael Keaton could be a variant of Michael Keaton in Holland's movie. So it's like you gotta. I don't know. I kind of feel when I saw the Morbius and I saw that they were doing the intermingling, I am not gonna lie, kind of wanted to see Morbius fight Blade. I kind of wanted to see that.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get that, but I would love it.
I don't think we're gonna get that either, but I just kind of wanted to see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Thought it would be a good idea.
Yeah. This was a very free-flowing conversation, but I just want to make sure before because I do got to wrap this up soon. We can continue talking about this all we want on the soapbox, but I do have to cut this one off at a certain point. So I got to just say, was there anything that you didn't get to talk about Spider-Man that was like your favorite thing or your least favorite thing that you No Way Home that you want to talk about really quick before we go?
I have one thing. This is the only thing in my mind that was that water torture trick, that drop of water that kept on hitting my head. I kind of felt that all this stuff that Peter did in the movie to help make the villains good kind of went left field, because once they go back, you got to think it's like Osborn died, Doc Ock died. The Lizard didn't die, but he got reverted back.
Oh, he's just in prison.
He's just in prison. Okay. Then Sandman didn't die, and Electro, he got reverted. He didn't get reverted back. He got
Electro very much died.
He died? Did he die?
He died.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he died.
So the thing is that all that stuff happening, all that stuff he did in this movie, once they send them back, I kind of felt like it was a little too open, because it felt like once they go back, they're gonna die anyway. So, kind of doing this for no reason.
You don't know that they're gonna die anyways. You don't know. Was it 5 seconds before a glider impaled him? Was it 1 minute before a glider impaled him? Was it 10 minutes before? You know what I mean? You don't know where it is in the timeline. But I think the that's not the part you're supposed to worry about. I think they're not going to do anything to ruin the other movies, right? The idea is to make all the movies in the franchise value and valid, right? So if you go back, I don't know if you've seen, like, there's really cool memes, but like there is a fun thing that somebody cut of like Norman, being healed and then going back, and then it immediately cuts to that moment in Spider-Man 1 where you see him have this moment of clarity and he goes, "Oh," right before he's impaled. And the implication is like that's him right after returning to his universe. And I don't think that's necessarily the truth of it. Like it can be whatever you want it to be. But I think that goes back to what Travis is saying is like, I think the beauty of this is it's all a clean slate for everybody, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that they did die when they go back. You know what I mean? Like, and I think for me, that was the most Spider-Man thing ever because, I like that, when Andrew had to cure Lizard, he's like, I got this. I already did it once. And again, that speaks to like how much I think Andrew was always the most Spider-Man because, oh, excuse me. Sorry, I got something in my throat. Because the reality is, Spider-Man, you know how he ends up with a Sinister Six? It's because he doesn't kill his villains. He doesn't try to kill his villains. And so it was always really hurting my soul when I was watching Sam Raimi's movies and the villains kept dying all the time. And then I go and watch Andrew Garfield's and he's like, whoa, he let one live. He let one live, and so I got excited. And then Spider-Man 2, he just kills a bunch of them again, whatever. But, but so I think it's the most Spider-Man thing in that we finally got to see a Spider-Man that chose the hard path because it was the right thing to do rather than, like is given no choice but to have this villain die, because it's because circumstances,
I gotta, to speak to that, like what I thought was good is anytime when you get this interdimensional, time travel, it's always asking for these plot holes, these inconsistencies, and you have to have the suspension of disbelief for a minute and just roll with it for a minute. And I think by and large they did a great job of making those things be valid, having them make sense, and most of all, at least in my opinion, make them have emotional weight, right? Because you cared. And like I said, these movies, all of these movies, for nerddom, it's a lot of people's versions of football stats and things of that nature, right? And if you can make a movie like this that rewards your sense of loyalty to the character, to these movies, where you can, when you can walk out of there and say, man, this past 15, 20 years of Spider-Man was not all for naught. Like it ended like this. I don't think there's a better way for filmmakers to salute their fans and say, we hear you and we got you. And I appreciate that immensely.
Yeah. See, fan, like that, the essence of
it sounds like he's cutting out, right?
I was trying to get my thought together.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like a lot of times when movies try to do things for the fans, they like, I saw that behind the scenes of of that crappy movie. What's a Star Wars movie that you guys like that I hate?
Man, we're not trying to talk about Star Wars right now.
No. I'm not talking about Star Wars. I'm talking about that one line where the director Rian Johnson was just like, the fans don't know what they want. We have to tell them what they want. And I was just like, I understand that, but no, the fans know what they want. The fans have a good idea of what they want.
But just because the fans know what they want doesn't mean they're right. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm not saying that they're right or wrong. I'm just saying the fans know what they want. And the stuff that they did in this movie actually, and this is something that I feel like Marvel does really well, that when the fans come to play, they will listen to the fans. They might tell the fans, we will do that idea, not the way you want it to, but we will do that idea. Hence, like, it's the whole essence of bringing all the characters to a now in the 2000s. So it's like you have the characters that were made in the 1960s, 1970s. You bring them in 2000s. A lot of the stuff that we grew up on, like honestly, it's like that. I didn't even think of it until I think it was that one episode I was on with you, Dennis, where we were talking about the X-Men, and I was telling you why I didn't like the idea, and you had said, well, the Holocaust was so long ago. If you had a Magneto now, he would have to be like over 100 years old. So you need to find something that actually gives him a motivational push, like the Holocaust. And I was just like, and I actually went. I after I got off of here, I was like, I actually thought about that, and I was just like, okay, he's right. There's an essence. There's an essence to you have to think logically in this whole situation. So it's like way my fan brain works is when I was a kid. I grew up with what made me me, but I can't think of it all the time of what made me me. I have to think of it like what makes me me, but in this current time, and I'm okay with that. I can understand that. I can rock with that. So it's like when it comes down to this movie, I feel like they understood what fans wanted. It's not the fact that they were saying fans are right or wrong. They just saw something that fans would like, and they were just like, fans are going to love this. And they did it. I thought it was a good idea. I thought it was a great idea.
So the older I get, the more I feel that I don't need to see a one-to-one recreation of something that I read, 20, 30 years ago, whatever. What I need in order to keep this property alive is I need this property to be relatable to a younger audience, and I need it to still be relatable to an older audience too, so that we can have conversations like we do with people like Ricky, who is 20 some years younger than me, but I do this podcast with him because I do like to hear his thoughts on these things, because he has a different perspective, a different point of view, and it makes it fun. Sometimes his ideas and his perspectives are stupid to me. Sometimes they're really cool, and sometimes they're like, I never would have thought of it that way. And it all makes for, a multi-generational experience that, like that's why these are the modern myths, right? Because we pass them down from generation to another. And so I need to be forgiving of certain things that happen, so that, like at least they get the core, you know what I mean? And so what I felt about this movie, and I know a lot of Spider-Man fans felt, is a lot, especially the ones that were complaining about the previous Tom Holland movies. A lot of hardcore Spider-Man fans I know, including Frank, we're not the biggest fans of Tom Holland Spider-Man. Even though they enjoy his movies, they don't like Tom Holland Spider-Man because he was missing the point. And what's really fun is to see that this movie went and recontextualized all three movies to be the origin story of Spider-Man. And now suddenly you're like, oh crap, he actually is Spider-Man now. I don't care where they go from here because it's all golden. You know what I mean? And I think that's the best part of it.
I couldn't think of a better way to wrap that up, Dennis. I mean, honestly, like, and you said it best earlier when you said it's about the pain. Now, I didn't really realize that about Spider-Man, really, because I always, it just read as frustration to me, and it's why I wanted it like this. You can't win, dude. And I know that's essential. It's also what I hate the most about Spider-Man. Okay, it's like, dude, can you stop rolling snake eyes, right? So, like, Jesus Christ, man, would you stop kicking this character in the face like every single time, right? And so, yes, I agree with you that that is the core of Spider-Man, is that he cannot win in the way that you think he does, right?
But he
There's
will
always got to
try.
be,
He will persevere,
yes.
though.
Oh,
He will
absolutely, absolutely. And so like that's why I guess it was so poignant at the end. Like I said again, to see him in that original outfit, right? like
Broke
in the
ass.
neighborhood, being broke. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and you're thinking, that's your boy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I can roll with this.
Yes. Agreed. All right. We got to wrap this up. This was an awesome conversation that went all over the place, but we kept Joel in line. He wanted to go Star Wars sometimes. He wanted to go.
No.
He wanted.
It was just that one time I had to.
Travis wanted to go to the Matrix. We kept it in line.
I
And
actually gave him props because
and
that was
guess
a good
what?
line he did.
I will let you talk about whatever you guys want in the soapbox, which is coming up next. But I just want to wrap this up for the main show. We'll be back next week to discuss Peacemaker with our friend Clark, and hopefully Ricky and Frank are both back. I want to say thank you to Travis and Joel for nerding out with me today. You can feel free to take a moment to let people know where they can find you. Travis, you want to go first?
I have a weekly podcast as well. It's called Tech Nubians. I stream every Saturday on YouTube too, so that's TECHN00BIANS, technubians.com. So check us out.
And it's at twitch.tv/Geekish Network.
No, we're streaming all over the place now. We're not just on Twitch anymore.
Oh, but okay, my bad. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
But you are still there, right? Also?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Then it's not a fake.
No
thing I just put up there.
No, what it is, it's A, B, and C. Ooh,
nice. It's all at the same time.
Callback,
all
babies.
Yes.
Callbacks. All right.
Joel, you want people to find you or no?
Nope. I don't really care for people to find me at all. I'm a hidden hermit.
I found them and it's not really worth it yet.
I know. Well, I will let you guys know that you can find me and creating all kinds of stuff at Denix Media everywhere on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Not so much Twitter, so much Facebook. All these different places. Doing lots of crazy nerd stuff. Doing toy videos. Doing emotional "What does Marvel mean?" to you videos. Putting all that stuff up there on the internet and for you guys to enjoy. So please go check it out when you get a chance. And also feel free to come check us out on patreon.com/DenXmedia afterwards, where we'll be chatting up more stuff, lots more stuff. I got a lot of fun facts for Spider-Man that I didn't even share with you guys, but it's cool. Don't worry about it. And then, yeah, I think thanks to our patrons for supporting our growth and for our audience for tuning in. If you had fun, please feel free to like and subscribe. And that's about it. I think thanks for watching Dan Excelsior, True Believers. And I think that's going to be probably enough said, right? Enough said.